First thing you do if your toilet starts to leak is go ahead and get the water line shut off, disconnect the water supply line, then take off the tank bolts. There's going to be probably one on either side, there might be one on the back as well. Once you have them disconnected, take and lift the tank straight up. There's probably going to be some water drippage here as well, so we'll keep in mind for that. Now right away we can see the problem on this one. As you can see, the gasket is pretty shot, and on the left side there it's completely missing one of the bolts that was rusted right off. To remove the main part of the toilet, pop the caps off with a flat screwdriver on either side, and in my case, and most of the time they're a 1/2 inch wrench. Go ahead and loosen those bolts off, and then take a screwdriver to pop off the plastic and the steel washer that's underneath. I'm going to keep those because we're going to use them again later. Now to take the toilet out, start by moving your rug or anything like that out of the way and lift it straight up. It's going to be a little stuck on because of the wax gasket, and that's fine. A little wiggle side to side might help you free it up as well. Again, there's probably going to be more water leaking off of there, so be ready to catch some water. Now for the next step, you're going to need a whole bunch of paper towel. Pro tip here, if you leave that roll empty, be sure to leave that like that on the counter. My wife's always looking for stuff to do around the kitchen. This will help her out. Now you're going to be left with a gasket that has all kinds of wax and stuff around your flange. I found the easiest way to get this stuff off is to take a putty knife. 2-inch works better, but I didn't have one on hand. Now if you have one of these rubber flanges, it's okay to remove that as well. Continue to get all the wax off of it. And then once you have the majority of the wax gone, grab a paper towel or wad of paper towels and kind of clean out the inside of this flange as well, just to make sure that's not going to go down the drain. Once you got everything cleaned up, be sure to clean up all the surface and the floor underneath where the toilet was sitting. This is a good time to do so. And optionally, you've always got dust behind the baseboards there as well, so I'm going to give them just a quick little wipe. Get that out of the way. Now optionally I could take and replace the toilet flange or the gaskets there and use the same toilet. However, this is not a low flow toilet, so I'm going to replace it with a Kohler, and this is a lower water use toilet. Now if you're putting these toilet parts down anywhere on a ceramic floor, on a nice floor, be sure to lay down a towel or something, because you don't want to damage any of your flooring. I like to start by getting everything out of the box anytime I'm doing a project and kind of just see what's there. That way if I know there's any missing pieces, I can quickly run to the hardware store and grab what I need. This kit did come with a replacement gasket for the toilet, so that's pretty awesome. I don't have to pick one of them up. Now to get this toilet ready to mount it onto the flange, first thing we're going to do is flip it upside down. And we're going to take the wax ring that came with the toilet. If you didn't have one that came with the toilet, just pick one up at the hardware store. I like to pull these things off and squeeze them onto the bottom of the toilet. I found that makes mounting them a whole heck of a lot easier. There's probably a trick to taking that wax ring off the packaging. I do not know that trick, evidently. To mount your toilet, pick this thing up and make sure you don't make any contact with the floor, because that wax ring is lower than the base of the toilet, so we don't want to make a mess. And take your time here, slowly walk it over, get it over top of the flange, and I'm kind of using my legs to help stabilize, so I can take my time in finding those two screw holes to line them up perfectly before I seat the toilet. Once you have it seated, just a little bit of pressure on both sides and kind of wiggle it down just slightly to help seat it all the way to the floor. To fasten this thing back down, if there's a metal washer, that's going to go down first, then a plastic washer, and then the nut goes on the top. Now you don't have to make these things super tight, we're just snugging this thing up so that it's not going to be rocking. That's it. Once you've got both sides secured, take the plastic caps and we'll snap them back into place. At this point in time, it's a good time to wash your hands before you're handling any of the rest of the toilet. We're done with the dirty part of it. I found a little bit of dish soap, and as hot of water as you can tolerate will help get your hands clean. Then once you've got that, take the paper towel and give them a pretty good scrub. That'll take and get most of the rest of your wax off of your hands. Here you can see the new toilet tank. As you can see, the flange is nicer, and this one has 3 bolts versus the 2 on my previous toilet. We're just gonna seat this thing on top. We don't have to do anything fancy here, just to kind of get it in place, and then we're gonna get the hardware to fasten it to the main part of the bowl. Now if you're buying a new toilet kit, most of this hardware will be somewhere inside the box. Now because these gaskets are fresh, you're gonna have to push down on the bolt probably inside the tank a little bit. The steel washer goes first, then the nuts on second. Just kind of finger tighten them all just to get them started. Once you've got them all started, snug them up using a wrench. These were 1/2 inch as well, or a ratchet. And you want a little bit of play. It's better to go a little bit loose first, have a leak, than over tightening and cracking your tank. That'd be a bad day. After we've got that all mounted, we're going to turn the water back on and give it a test flush. Then you want to go under either side of the tank and the bowl and make sure that we have no leaks anywhere on either side. As we can see, nothing's leaking, so that's a good sign. We can continue to put the seat on. When you're mounting the seat, these things have a lot of play, so you can move them side to side and kind of take the time to really line it up with the bowl. If you've got these 2 odd moon-shaped pieces and you're not sure where they go, they're on the bottom side of the seat. Here we'll pop up the caps to expose the place to put the bolts in to mount the seat. Now these things are pretty awesome. They've got a larger plastic tab on the one side, so to start them is super easy. You don't have to hold either side. Then we're going to take and line up the seat so that it's perfectly centered before we tighten it down. And once you kind of snug it up a little bit, you can kind of make sure that it's still in the correct position. Once you got it secure, snap down the caps and your toilet is good to go. This has a soft close seat too, which is sweet. We call that child-proofing the teenager from waking you up. Now that that's done, time for the ultimate test.